academics from the CSIBER Institute, colleagues from Sri Lanka, colleagues from University of Technology Mauritius, students, namaskar, good morning, and bonjour for those who want to learn French. Yes, in fact, it's a privilege for me to be here with you, and I thank CSIBER for making this event happen. And personally for me, it is a blessing that I'm here today among you with the warm welcome and the greetings from the students. The moment that I spent with the student was very precious for me. So I'm here to present to you here. As you can see in the title itself, it says Industry, Sustainability, Infotech, and Mankind. Mankind is the word that underpins all the other three words you have there. You will agree with me, you will concur with me, if you don't have a very good health, none of these will be possible. Industry, sustainability, infotech. So I'm here to talk about mankind, health. I am from the School of Health Sciences from the University of Technology Mauritius, and I will present to you impact of built environment on the cognitive development of dyslexic children in Mauritius. So I'll give you a broad overview internationally, and then I'll come down to Mauritius. So I've taken this topic with you because this would be very interesting for our student to know about what is happening nowadays. We're talking about built environment, changes, climate change. So how are these impacting on our student, especially with infotech? Infotech, nowadays, everybody is moving towards AI, ChatGPT, other tools that we use, and you will agree with me that learning capacity is, unfortunately, decreasing. Assimilation, absorption, and performance of our students decreasing all over the world. So these are facts that I'm bringing to you today to evidence this, and especially to raise your awareness about where you can take precaution and what can you do to prevent this decline in your learning capacity. Just an introduction about where is Mauritius. As you can see, maybe some of you don't know where is Mauritius. We have this red dot over there in the Indian Ocean. And you can see India, how far it is. Then you can see the development in Mauritius, the beautiful scene, hotels, our economic development as well. Some statistics about Mauritius. A volcanic island in the Indian Ocean, off the southeast coast of East Africa, east of Madagascar, with an area of 2,040 kilometers square and population size of 1.37 million in 2020, includes the main island, Mauritius, Rodrigues, Agalega, and Saint Brodon together. And Mauritius gained independence on 12 March 1968 and became a republic on 12 March 1992. So the ethnic groups that we have, 67% Indian, 28% Christian, 3% Chinese, and 2% French people. The health sector. I'm here to talk about the health sector. So Mauritius has a universal free healthcare system, which is financed by taxpayers under the aegis of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The public sector meets 73% of the health needs of the population, while private sectors contribute to 23% of the health needs of the country. The country's health system infrastructure consists of 5 major public hospitals, 6 specialized public hospitals, 18 private multi-specialty clinics, and 28 medical laboratories. Life expectancy in Mauritius, 75 years. Demographic status of the population is marked by rapidly aging population as a result of increased life expectancy and low fertility rates, which is below replacement level. Cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, cancer are the leading causes of death in Mauritius. And only non-communicable diseases accounted for 84% of the total burden disease in Mauritius. So you can imagine the investment on the health sector to cater for the health of the Mauritian. Disabilities. Disabilities, we agree that the world is moving fast, but at the same time, there are a group of people with disabilities, and this is increasing with climate change. So early in 1940s, a polio epidemic awakened the consciousness of the civil society towards people with disabilities. Hundreds of children were affected, and many who survived became disabled. Non-communicable diseases are the leading cause, we have seen that, of premature mortality and disability in Mauritius. So after 1968, parastatal bodies and all the different organizations, they started to care, to provide specialized care, education, and training to children, adolescents, and adults with disabilities. Government and civil society also helping enormously to the inclusion of these people with disabilities in the mainstream society. Ours at University of Technology Mauritius, we have partnered with the Special Education Needs Authority, because there's an alarming rate of these disabled children in Mauritius. The university, we have developed programs to educate, to provide ways and means to the teachers in these SEND schools, because they're already under stress. You will agree with me, teachers dealing with normal students, they're already complaining about the behavior of students in the class. Now imagine you have a class of 30 students with different disabilities to handle from 8 to 3 o'clock. So University of Mauritius, University of Technology Mauritius are developing programs to cater for these students through the teachers. Dyslexia. So this is a particular point, particular ability for students. This is reading disabilities, reading and learning disability. Dyslexia affects about 15% of the world population, more than 30 million adults in the USA, around 6 million in Britain, and 3 million in Canada. Dyslexia affects people from many walks of the life, as well as people of many languages and countries. Dyslexia is thought to affect 1 in 10 persons in the US, and in the US, 20% of school kids have dyslexia. In special education needy schools in Mauritius, 20.8% of the 2,731 students are dyslexic, and between 25 and 40% of dyslexic children also have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So you can guess by this word what the meaning of it. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So the rate increasing, you see among NASA staff is over 50%. Dyslexic may have trouble prioritizing, planning, maintaining, so they can't focus on time management. They thrive in many connections between concepts, coming up with novel ideas, using 3D reasoning, recognizing broader picture. However, dyslexic individuals, this is the plus point of it, perform exceptionally well, or are even brilliant in arts, computer programming, architecture, theater, engineering, maths, technicians, musicians, and athletics. So that's where we at the university, we are capitalizing on. Not to let them become, how you call it, not rejected by the society, but we want to value these people. We're developing programs, we're giving awards to other areas where they can excel. Several brain and cerebellar areas have been linked to dyslexia via investigations of the brain structure, including the few postmortem studies and structural imaging studies. So it is a defect, it is a part of the brain that is affected. So we cannot neglect someone just because a part of the body is disabled. Built environment. We've seen lots of infrastructure now, huge development in the country, road network, building, everything. So this is built environment. The human-made surroundings provide the setting for human activity, ranging from buildings, parks, green space, neighborhoods, cities, and so on. So considering considerable influence on the growth and maturity. So studies have shown that all these man-made infrastructure, they influence the growth and maturity of children and youngsters, their living standards, and their perception and appreciation of the outside world. The built environment integrates physical components and energy into configurations for habitation, employment, and recreation. It is a physical dimension and socio-cultural output of human effort. Shortly, it is described as the man-made environment in where people regularly reside, labor, and play. So since we spend over 90% of our time within the house, and as interior environments in developing countries like Mauritius are frequently damaged by solid fuel combustion, indoor settings, it has a significant capacity for impacting on your health and well-being. Noise, bad air quality, humidity, mold in the house are all aspects of our interior settings that can have a negative impact on health. So we have seen that air pollution mostly. I've taken air pollution because I can see here we have a bit dust everywhere on the road. So exterior air pollution contributes to a decrease in the standard of living, especially in Mauritius. It is predicted that ambient air pollution contributed to 4.2 million untimely deaths globally in 2019, while 89% of the early fatalities happen in nations with low or middle-income countries, according to a report by WHO in 2022. Air pollution exposure throughout childhood has been linked to neurodevelopmental pathologies. I'm going to focus on that later on. Increased initial exposure to air pollutants, particularly particulate matter, 2.5, nitrogen dioxide, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, is related to worse cognitive development results in children. So moreover, air pollution causes prefrontal brain injury. So these pollutions, maybe you are not aware of it. It is here, it is around you. And it is gradually affecting your brain. So if it affects your brain, obviously it reduces our learning capacity, our memory capacity. So it alters neurodevelopment in a number of regions among kids. Air pollution, neurological impact offer a physiologically feasible pathway to cognitive function disturbance, and various airborne pollutants with detrimental effect include, especially on dyslexic kids, include these particulate matter, nitrogen oxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, and monoxide. Again, well, these are a bit specific term on how it affects the brain. So it penetrates the human system, especially naturally occurring the immune system. This may lead to measuring the levels. This may be shown by measuring the levels of tiny proteins called cytokines in the circulatory system, cerebrospinal liquid, for example, tumor necrosis factor. Well, sorry, these are typical terms. And I'm trying to skip that. Well, the cytokines in question are important inflammatory signal intermediates that we can measure in the brain, encouraging enlargement of the cells, the immune-mediated production of cytotoxic organisms, and additional pro-inflammatory communication to other cytokines, all of which contribute to prevalent neuroinflammation in the cerebrum. Cerebrum is just the brain, resulting in destruction and dispersed impairment of nerve tissues in multiple parts of cerebral matter. Well, this is the structure of the brain, showing you how all these particles, they can reach your brain, generate molecules that increase the cytotoxicity of the brain. We have also molds, fungus in the house. What they do? They sporulate and grows in damp surfaces. Mold and mycotoxins cause signs which impact on different body parts, notably the respiratory tract, muscle, skeletal, and neurological systems. Mycotoxin, these are just toxins, substances produced by the fungus, by the mold that we have in the house. So mycotoxin exposure has lately been linked to the etiology of autism spectrum diseases. Mycotoxins impact tend to be controlled by a variety of mechanisms, including the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, particularly by specialized cells in the brain. Well, we have all these, we have these organizations, including the WHO, which concluded that buildup of moisture and mold in dwellings was connected with a spike in various respiratory health impact in 2009. So these are facts, documented evidence and being reported. Noise, individuals undergoing a 95 decibel noise. This is beyond acceptable limit. Usually the acceptable level is 85 in Mauritius. So beyond that 95 decibel noise exposure have a decrease in their mental effort and visual auditory attentiveness. So it is interesting for me to take this part of noise, because since I'm here near my room all night, it's been like pee pee, pom pom, like this. I said, this is very noisy here. Well, but this, you may not realize, it has an impact on your brain. Vehicular noise severely impairs the growth of critical recall and concentration abilities in elementary school children. Youngsters who were subjected to traffic noises around 3 times more compared to other students had 23 worse memory development and 5% poorer concentration capacity maturation over the course of 1 year. And this was reported in 2022. Now, we've conducted a study, a small survey in Mauritius to see how it happens in Mauritius. So I'm just giving you brief findings. We surveyed the parents rather, just to know the environment where the children are growing. So we surveyed the parent because the student may not be able to answer our questions properly. So a randomized sample of 230 dyslexic children parents was selected from March to May 2023 in various regions of Mauritius. And the children were mostly from the SEND schools, that is special education needs schools, and the aim of the study was to look into and evaluate the local built environment where these children are living. So briefly the findings, 62.1% of the respondents were inhabitants of urban regions within built environment, and 55.8% were middle-aged parents. Most of the respondents, 79%, only have one dyslexic child. That is a total of 150 dyslexic children, while 21% had 2 dyslexic children. So the same group of parents, some have 2 dyslexic children. You can imagine the rate of this learning disability in these children. The majority, 93% of the household, utilize gas cylinder cookers, and 44% use open fire stoves. 67.9% reported that there is a musty smell after they burn on the air, after they turn on the AC. 40% users of hybrid ventilation were dealing with musty smell after switching on the AC, and the children suffered from asthma. 47% reported that their children had asthma or allergy flare-ups, while 13.2% also have face allergy or asthma flare-ups. Moreover, 40% parents outlined that their children had persistent cough or cold. 61% resided near temples or mosques. 50% lived near factories and released several gases. 39% parents endured noise pollution due to building constructions with heavy machinery in the area, since 37.4% resided near metal industries. In addition, 22.6% of the respondents have poultry or animal farms in their vicinity. 28% were exposed to constant use of fertilizers and spraying of pesticides from agricultural fields. Moreover, 71% respondents agreed that it was acceptable to smoke indoor. So they did not know the consequence of smoking. So they said it is usual, it is normal that you smoke in-house. 57% of the parents disagreed that indoor plants remove air pollutants and microbes. So they did not agree with us that we need to keep plants in the house to purify the house. So they did not agree with that. Parents who smoke indoors frequently and occasionally had 0 plants in their houses. Only 21% of them thought it was necessary to test air quality of their home environment. See, they are not conscious. They said air quality in the house doesn't matter. Only 21% thought that it was necessary, while 48% were indifferent. Only 33% agreed with the statement that indoor built environment affected dyslexic children. Thus, the findings showed that various negative built environment factors contributed to the impairment of the pedagogical and cognitive progress of dyslexic youngsters. It is recommended that further studies should be prioritized by the Mauritian government or other interested stakeholders to enable interaction between developmental investigators and the built environment and investigation, resulting in exploring contextually tailored aspects that influence groups at elevated hazard. So we should focus more, we should conduct more research on built environment and the impact on children. Auxiliary local studies regarding the effect of built environment on dyslexic impaired, which may be sponsored by schools, government. So we should encourage organizations to provide more support for people to work with built environment and disabilities. Public sensitization campaigns in the forms of billboards, advertising, brochures, with additional informative meetings organized in schools would display an upstanding effect on the dyslexic children's cognitive and academic growth. Well, limitation that we had here, it wasn't easy to gather the information due to the geographic distribution of the people, the availability, and so on. And this study was accomplished for a better understanding of the built environment surrounding dyslexic children in view of encouraging and developing professional programs towards curtailing the factors that impede cognitive and academic growth for these special needs children. So with this, I hope here also you will join hand with me to conduct few research, to gather, to look for the factors that is impacting on your children, and especially the built environment. Okay, that's all from my side. If you have any question, you're most welcome.
Hello. The session is open for question and answers from audience. Anyone has some questions?
Hello, madam. From yesterday also, we are having a lot of information related to health and environment. So I have a basic question. Sensory perception of all such damages for a person and intellectual interpretation of all that you people make out of it. How do we relate it for the common public? Because every time we go with, even in India, we go with some public campaigns or programs only to create awareness. But thereafter, we really don't have a track of what happens to that or something like that. So it's a very critical thing which you have already discovered. But then how do we really go further to see that many people experience it due to a lot of environmental factors also, which is connected to health.
Yeah.
But then how do we remove this gap between this? You know?
Yeah.
The one who is suffering and one who knows about it. Like.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for your question. So basically, we also in Mauritius, we have these same challenges. Because this is a new field, it is difficult to convince people about the built environment, the factors that are giving rise to this disability, these issues in the society. But luckily, we have an authority in Mauritius who is catering for all these. So very often they conduct survey, they conduct research in the schools to bring forward statistics to show to these people, to show concrete evidence to these people, to laymen or the society, that you see the statistics increasing yearly about disability students. And so this, by showing this discrete evidence, statistics, obviously, they know already that we are having improvement in infrastructure. Now giving these results, these findings to them, they will be more convinced about really there is built environment has an impact on your children learning, your ability, even your physical ability. And of course, we do have some advanced research work being done in America, in UK, where on the morphology itself, on the brain development, we do have pictures, photos, just to show them, look, this brain, how it is originally, and following 1 year or 2 year exposure with this built environment, what degradation there is, what changes you can see in the morphology of the brain itself. Yeah, okay, I hope this answers your question. Thank you.